Hello, hello, hello. I believe we're live. Hopefully you can all hear me. Let everyone trickle in as the stream starts. I'm having myself a hot drink. Staying toasty. Yeah, I'm just gonna let the stream kick in. Hopefully you can all hear me all right before I get started. We're just having a little drink. Hopefully everyone's having a good weekend. And yeah. And, shout out to everybody wherever you are watching this stream right now. Happy Sunday. Oh, Anthony Goody with the what's up. Hey Anthony, how are you? I'm just waiting for everybody to come on into the stream before I start rambling on like I always do about news. But yeah. Happy Sunday if it's Sunday to you. And to whoever is ever watching, whatever day it is, Sunday or Monday. Hope you're having a good weekend or had a good weekend. Yeah. I never know with these streams how long to wait, or like I don't really announce them ahead of time, so I don't know if I should wait because I know that people might be totally caught off guard. So I kind of feel bad for just doing them without announcing them, but it's kind of like I'm still trying to get used to this whole live streaming thing anyway, so I don't know. I also kind of like to catch people off guard, but that's okay. If you miss the stream, no worries. I always put the stream straight to YouTube. I'm not really sure how some streamers do it, but I always put the live stream straight up to YouTube. So, except maybe one time, I think I had to remove a stream, but that was because it was kind of a fail. But most of the time, the streams will always go straight to YouTube, like immediately after the stream. So don't miss the live. It's okay. Yeah. Yeah, and shout out to if you're watching this on YouTube after the stream, thank you. You know, like and comment because you couldn't during the stream itself. And yeah, I'm hoping to do more live streams in the future. So hopefully I get better at this and more consistent at this, and then you can join us when we're actually streaming and stuff. Yeah, there's just something I'm just trying to get better at for sure. So. Yeah, okay, I'll give it a few minutes now. But anyway, so if you've read the title of the stream, you've seen the thumbnail, you know what I'm going to talk about today. It's big news, right? Big news in the Godzilla community. I didn't know first if I was going to do a video or not, but I thought I'm going to do a stream because one, like I said, I want to get more into streaming. And two, I just thought it'd be easier for me to just ramble on a bit and just kind of talk about the news with you all on stream to just, I don't know, get my thoughts out there. And also this way I could just get it out faster because you know how news is these days. It's like you got to be right on it. Otherwise I'd have to film and put something together, take a little longer. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do a live stream and talk about it. Like we don't have a trailer for me to react to or something like that. So it's better to just do a live stream, I thought. But if for some reason you're a Godzilla fan who's living under a rock, well, I'll explain everything. Yeah, I think we can give it a go because I feel like everyone who's here, I think now at this point everyone knows we're streaming, so they can join the stream later. But anyway, well, if you're a Godzilla fan who's living under a rock, let me just tell you that big news for the Monsterverse. Apple TV Plus is going to have a new Monsterverse series that's going to be based on Godzilla and the Titans. Should I say it's going to feature them. It was announced, what, like 2 days ago? And yeah, pretty huge news, and I think at first I wasn't sure because I read it was deadline, and we'll get more into this article in a second, but then it was also confirmed by Legendary themselves. This is actually from their Twitter. They confirmed it also on their Instagram. I'm not sure on any of the social media profiles, but this is official. This is not a rumor. This is not some source. This is not a leak. This is an actual announcement. So before anyone says this is fake news, this is real. This is confirmed by Legendary themselves and tons of other articles. But Legendary, we're thrilled to announce the Monsterverse is expanding with an all-new original live-action series for Apple TV Plus featuring Godzilla and the Titans that will explore the mythic legacy of a world in which monsters are real. So there you have it. Very, very, very short and kind of vague synopsis. This article actually goes a bit more in depth into what it's going to be about, and we'll go through that. But yeah, first and foremost, I just want to say it is real. This is real news. I know that I was first thrown off guard when I heard about this like 2 days ago because I wasn't sure if it was true or not. But it is very much real. I know we've had like rumors and announcements and stuff that was real or not real, and we actually had, give or take, maybe a year or two ago, I want to say a year ago, that there actually was rumors of a live-action Monsterverse show. So actually, this is not, and we might look into that later, but that was rumored, and then everyone discredited it, said, "Oh, that's fake news." But I just want to say, before anything else, this is real. This is actually happening. This is going to be coming sometime in the future. Now, who knows when? But I just want to dispel any kind of doubts that this is real, that this is fake news. So anyway, I think we'll go into the article. We'll talk a little bit about what the article says. We'll talk about maybe some other things people have been saying, and my thoughts on the Monsterverse and the future of the Monsterverse together. So yeah. King Red Spy, your comment makes me laugh. Is that a fan trailer request, or is that just a movie you want to see? I'll think. If it's a fan trailer request, I'll think about it. Is that like a sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong, but it's like Kong's cousin or something? Is that what you want Fat Monkey to be? Anyway, so Legendary's announcement was quite vague, but this article has like a teensy bit more information. So it says, massive deal. Apple TV Plus has ordered a new series featuring Godzilla and the Titans. So Godzilla will be in this. And here's the actual synopsis. So following the thunderous battle between Godzilla and the Titans, or the Mutos, that leveled San Francisco and the shocking new reality that monsters are real, this untitled series explores one family's journey to uncover its buried secrets and the legacy linking them to the secret organization known as Monarch. Then the series will be produced by Legendary Television and executive produced by co-creators Chris Black and Matt Fraction, alongside Safe House Pictures' Joby Harold and Tori Tunnel, and then Toho themselves are having their own people. Hiro Matsuoka and Takemasa Arita will executive produce for Toho. I probably mispronounced a bunch of people's names, and I do apologize. Toho is the owner of the Godzilla character. Okay, we know that already. So Toho is actually going to have some of their people as well. Now, I've never heard of these producers, so I don't know if they worked on Shin Godzilla. Maybe some people who know Toho better than I do, but they don't seem familiar. If you said to me, Tanaka, I don't know if Tanaka passed away or not. Yoshi Mitsubano passed away. But there are some producers that have been like on every Godzilla film, and they also, I think, have worked closely with Legendary. But I don't really know these two that well. But the main important part of this article is the explanation of the story. Following the battle between Godzilla and the Mutos. This is Godzilla 2014. So if you go back to Godzilla 2014 and Godzilla King of the Monsters, right? those movies have like a 5-year time skip, of which, well, there was like a comics that I didn't really read too much into. Spoiler alert, I'm gonna spoil for what I know from the comics. One, the comics introduce Dagon, who is like Godzilla's ancestor that was killed by the Mutos. And then also Godzilla from Godzilla 2014 fights a prime Muto thing and gets his like dorsal fins destroyed, and that's why he has new dorsal fins in King of the Monsters. Now that was in the comics, and I think the comics are canon. I don't know, but in theory, this show would cover the kind of the same time period between Godzilla and King of the Monsters. So I don't know if it's going to overlap or adapt the comics, or the comics are going to be thrown out of canon. At this point, I don't know, but we'll have to see. Sorry, I got a little bit of had to take a drink, but I will say I think it's really cool because that's an interesting era. I think because, well, between King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong, we kind of have a world that's used to monsters, and those titans kind of disappeared. But between like Godzilla and King of the Monsters, that's an era where people have learned about monsters, and Monarch's trying to, keep them hidden. And how is that possible? We learned that in King of the Monsters, Monarch has like 15 titans they're keeping track of. They're keeping them hidden, which seems quite like almost impossible. And how does Jonah, how does he team up with Emma Russell, Vera Farmiga's character? So I think that what we'll see is kind of, well, I'm hoping is like an explanation of what happens between Godzilla 2014 and King of the Monsters, what happens with Monarch and Vera Farmiga's character, and, well, the Russells, right? Some people have theorized that since this says one family's journey, that this will be the story of the Russells. I don't know that it's going to be about the Russells because I feel like their story was more in the movies, but I do think that it might be about a family that might be very close to them. Godzilla 93, do you think we'll see or get mention of Muto Prime? And that's what I was kind of saying earlier about if they're adapting the comics or not. I don't know if the comics, I think the comics are supposed to be canon, but that would be cool. Like, could we get, like, on screen, we'd see Godzilla fight the Muto Prime, get his dorsal fins destroyed, grow new ones? Maybe. I think Vera Farmiga's character is in that comic, so again, I don't know if that's the direction they're gonna go. And this is like, we're talking, they've ordered a series, so this is season 1. So you can imagine that season 1 is probably going to start right in like 2014, 2015, and it's going to start to slowly explain things as kind of like the story goes on. I don't know. Again, I didn't read the comics, so I'm not an expert on that, but I think that would be cool. There's a lot of other Titans and stuff from the comics that they could adapt. I mean, there's so much they could do with the story, right? It's kind of vague right now. We don't know very much about it other than this brief description, but I do think that it's, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be really cool. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to think about here. I mean, for me, I think the cool thing with the series is since it's not just like a movie, you get, I would assume, like 6 or to 10 episodes. You can get an episode that features at least one new Titan. So this is a great explanation. This is a great way to introduce a bunch of Titans, maybe use some Toho Titans as well. So Emma is in Godzilla Aftershock. Okay. So yeah. So I think that, I think my theory, or what it'll be about, is it'll be about a family who kind of follows Godzilla and starts to learn about the other Titans. And maybe they cross paths with the Russells. And it shows also the Russells and how Emma basically became corrupt and crazy and sets up Godzilla King of the Monsters. But I also think the show has an opportunity to set up things that happen in Godzilla vs. Kong as well. Maybe introducing like Apex when they first started, and those characters. and their first inventions. Because who knows, maybe Apex actually started building robots even before King of the Monsters. Um, Maybe introducing how they found Mothra, how they found Rodan, all the Titans. King Red versus Menta on Scream in theaters and on HBO Max. Alrighty, sure, man. King Red, you make me laugh. Yeah, so I feel like there's a lot you can do with it. I am hoping that, and a lot of people are saying, we're gonna get characters from Godzilla 2014 to come back, like Aaron Taylor Johnson or Elizabeth Olsen, or well, no, Bryan Cranston. No, he's dead at that point. But I would love to see Serizawa come back. I think he kind of has to if they're gonna talk about Monarch. So that'd be great. I mean, he's a beloved character. Everybody loved him in King of the Monsters. So I think that we'd love to see Serizawa come back. There's the character that Lily, is her name Lily Collins? Like it's Serizawa's assistant. I forget her name, but she can come back too. Because I mean, they work with Emma in the movie. So I would love to see Serizawa come back. I think he will have to. I think you have to. Yeah, and there's other Titans that they can introduce. I mean, in like a perfect version for me would be like, man, could we get some Toho creatures to show up? Anguirus, anyone? Because Anguirus was like, I think he's in King of the Monsters as a skeleton. Very hard to see. So maybe we could get an Anguirus or Baragon or something like that. That would be for me amazing. Or Rodan. I don't know. I think we'll get a mix of like original Titans like Behemoth or Skrilla, I don't know how you say its name, the Warbats, the Skullcrawlers, the other Mutos. But I would love to see some Toho licensed kaiju. And Toho is working on this, right? They have some people that are helping to produce, whatever that means. So, Monarch discovered Rodan in the mid-90s. Godzilla 93, I'm so glad you're very helpful today. I'm glad you're here because this is very useful. Well, see, then they could put Rodan into this. I'd love to see how they captured Rodan and put him inside the volcano. There's just so much you can do with this series. And the thing with the series, right, like there's good and bad ways to do it. I know a lot of people, for example, didn't like Singular Point. You can watch my review on it, but I didn't love Singular Point, but I did enjoy it. There's problems with it, but what I liked about Singular Point was all the monsters that were in it. We had Manda, we had Rodan, well, a version of Rodan. We had Anguirus, we had like Kumunga, we had, what's that green monster thing? We had Godzilla in like 3 different forms. I mean, you had a lot of monsters in it, and that's what I want to see here too. I want to see a lot of Titans, new, original Titans, and Toho ones. That would be amazing. And I know that like a lot of people are going to want to see Godzilla. I don't know how much Godzilla we'll really see because who knows how big of a budget they have. I'm okay with if the show focuses more on the other Titans and then Godzilla's kind of like sprinkled throughout and maybe shows up more at the end. And yeah, I think that would be cool. I almost wonder if like the show will set up more movies as well because we know that Legendary still has an untitled Monsterverse film that is still floating out there somewhere. So we don't know. Oh, it's Rodan had been in the volcano since Monarch found him. They only locked him in there. Okay, so it's kind of like King Ghidorah, the three-headed monster that Rodan was living in the volcano. Well, the original Rodan film, they also fall in the volcano. But anyway, I feel like that would be pretty cool if they kind of start to set up other movies like the Disney Plus Marvel shows, Loki and all those shows. They set up the next movies as well. They actually have an impact on the movies that are coming up. So I wonder if this show will maybe set up or like tie into a new Godzilla film. Maybe it'll even tie into the new, I assume, the new Kong movie somehow. I don't know if Kong will show up in this because he hasn't really been mentioned, but he might have a cameo. I bet, maybe they go to Skull Island for an episode and Kong shows up for like 2 seconds. Because at this point in time, Kong is still contained on Skull Island. So Kong is not yet, well, he's always been contained, but I mean, like, they didn't set up that facility in Godzilla vs. Kong until after King of the Monsters. So I think this time, in this time period in 2014, Kong is still roaming all over Skull Island. He's probably a lot bigger. There's the, in the 90s, right, there's another comic about Skull Island, and he fights Kamatazaws or something like that, like a giant bat. However, I think, and that's where, switching gears to talk about the Skull Island anime that was announced like a year ago or two. No, it was like a year ago. I think the Skull Island anime that is still coming out will focus on Kong's story and what was happening on Skull Island before Godzilla vs. Kong. Actually, probably before Godzilla King of the Monsters. Well, in Godzilla 93, that's what I'm saying. What are we going to see in the Skull Island animated series on Netflix? I think, my theory, is that this will kind of run in parallel and tell the story of what was happening on Skull Island before King Ghidorah shows up and sends its weather storm thing that destroys the island. And it'll kind of like explain what Kong was doing when King Ghidorah showed up, but even before then, what Kong was doing and how Monarch were learning to contain him. Oh, that's some good drink. So that's my theory on what the Skull Island anime is going to be about. And it's still happening. We just have no word on it, but I think that that will be also awesome because we're going to get more lore on Kong. Maybe we'll get more lore on a little bit more of what's happening in the Hollow Earth. Though, again, the Hollow Earth isn't really explained until Godzilla vs. Kong, but I'm hoping also with this show that we get some more exploration of the Hollow Earth. Kong fought Kamazot in 2021. 2021, I think it's still after King of the Monsters, right? See, the thing is, isn't Godzilla vs. Kong like in the future, like 2024 or something? So, Freddy Krueger's in the Monsterverse? I didn't know that. Oh, King Red, you always got some good ones. Okay. So that could be cool. I mean, I think with the Skull Island anime, there's a ton of Titans, right? They can come up with some cool monsters, you know, the Warbats, Kamazots, the Skull Crawlers. So they could bring in some cool creatures for Kong to fight in the anime. And I think in this show, in live action, I'd love to see an exploration of the Hollow Earth. Maybe they could go to Godzilla's home in King of the Monsters and explore. The only thing is, like, I mean, how much can they explore? Because, like, in King of the Monsters, you know, they found this place. They didn't know about it before. So how did they explore it? But then they didn't know about it here. And if they go to the Hollow Earth in this show, it's like, but in Godzilla vs. Kong, no one's been to the Hollow Earth until they had the heaves to get through. So it's a bit like they're going to have to be careful because the movies, King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong, kind of set up like this is the first time they discovered this. If they go discover it sooner, it just kind of like screws with the consistency or the continuity. So I don't really know how they're going to do that, but maybe there's other places they can discover. Maybe we can learn more about Dagon, you know, and his story of how the Muto defeated him. Again, going back to Godzilla Aftershock, maybe we'll get like a flashback sequence to the ancient Godzillas. Maybe we'll even get a flashback sequence to the ancient war between Godzilla and Kong. That's what everybody wants to see, is ancient times with the Godzillas fighting the Kongs. And, you know, what was the creature that they teamed up to? Because there is concept art, right, of Godzillas and Kongs fighting some kind of flying beast thing. And, you know, is it King Ghidorah? Is it Space Godzilla? You know, what is it, right? Like, that's what we really want to see. So I'm hoping in this show they might explore things like that. That'd be really cool. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. Now, I still want movies. Obviously, I think we all want to see movies, right? Like, there's nothing better than big cinematic experience, watching these monsters kill each other in live action. Like, that's what we want to see. But I don't know that, or I would say I like a show. I think a show is also cool. And I think we're still going to get movies. I know, like I said, there is an untitled Monsterverse film still happening. But look, this is fantastic news. We're getting the show, we're getting still the Skull Island anime, and we know we're getting a movie. I mean, that's tons of stuff from where we were when Godzilla vs. Kong kind of ended, and we were like, is this it? Is this over? And then we started getting rumors about Son of Kong, and we still had the anime. Now we have this. So the MonsterVerse lives on. It will continue very strong, and it's very exciting. And everyone's been talking about it. Kaiju News Outlet, one of the best outlets. If you haven't checked them out, great stuff. But at this point, there's not much more news to really say. Even the Toho official Twitter, or the official Godzilla Toho Twitter, talked about it. And on a random side note, thoughts on the new SH Monster Arts Singular Point Rodan figure? I mean, I think it looks cool. I think it looks just like the Rodan from the show. It's got the little Rodans, so that's cool. I think it's just like the Rodan. If you weren't a fan of the design or the way the monster showed up in the show, I could understand why you don't like it. But I think it's a pretty good looking figure. It looks just like he does in the show. I liked his design in the show. I think he looks pretty cool. But anyway, that's a random side note. Godzilla 93, no doubt the untitled movie is a Kong movie. That's what I'm thinking too, because we got those rumors about Son of Kong. And they kind of we never heard about it ever again, but I'm thinking maybe Legendary strategy is make a Son of Kong movie, make a Skull Island anime, make a Godzilla show, and then maybe after the Godzilla show, Monsterverse show featuring Godzilla, then maybe after the show, we get Godzilla 3, I guess. And then some people are saying maybe in the future we'll get like a Rodan movie or a Mothra movie straight to like HBO Max, or I guess maybe Apple TV Plus or Netflix or something. Maybe we'll get an anime, another anime. So yeah, there's so much they can explore. The good news is the Monsterverse is continuing. So, but yeah, no, I would say, yeah, this is a pretty good figure. I did want to check probably nonsense. Okay, so I don't know how real this was, but this is from January 25th of 2021, almost a year ago. Monsterverse spin-off show reportedly in the works for HBO Max. Now, we all said that this was probably just a fake rumor. This is just talking about the trailer, blah, 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 because at the time the trailer had just come out for Godzilla vs. Kong. The latest reports are claiming a spin-off series is in the works for HBO Max. So, could this have been actually they were talking about this show, and that like someone from Legendary leaked it, and then maybe what ended up happening was, because there was kind of like a bit of a drama between Legendary and Warner Brothers, Legendary changed their mind and took the show to Apple, because at the time we thought this was nonsense. We thought this was BS. We said this is just rumor, but I mean, it's kind of spot on. If you read what it's actually about, it's supposed to be would follow the secretive monarch organization. I mean, that's kind of what the new show is going to be about too. A legacy link. So maybe this is the same show. I'm thinking that might have been the same show. Maybe a year ago they were just planning it. This was just like an idea that they were pitching, and they were trying to figure out, we're going to go with HBO Max, and they decided later to go with Apple TV Plus. And if that's true, that means that Legendary has probably been planning a show for quite some time then, because this is from a year ago. This is from before Godzilla vs. Kong even came out. Like I said, I just think it's interesting. Now, maybe they're not connected at all, but I think the fact that this was from a year ago, before Godzilla vs. Kong came out, and now we're getting confirmation of an Apple Plus Apple TV Plus show, just says to me that I think these were probably the same show. This was an early draft of it, and the original planning was going to be to go with HBO Max, and they changed and decided to go with Apple TV Plus. I don't know. I could just be talking nonsense, but I think this is the same show, which is crazy because, again, we all thought, at the time I thought it was a cool idea, but I said it's probably just fake news, and it turned out to be real. So I'm not trying to say that We Got This Covered is you shouldn't be. I'm not saying you shouldn't be skeptical, because they've said a lot of nonsense, but honestly, they might have been right. They were just too early. But maybe this was always a real story. So next time you see something on We Got This Covered, don't immediately assume it's not true. I don't know. I just think that's cool. Godzilla 93 talking about we need a Mothra movie or a TV show. I absolutely agree. I think Mothra definitely deserves a movie or something. Mothra had her own trilogy in the 90s. Very cheesy, but you know, they gave her a lot of love, and I think that there's a lot you could do with the character. I think she's one of the most interesting monsters in the Toho roster. I definitely would love to see more content with her. And then if Legendary gets the right to use Gamera, that would be a dream come true. We could finally get Godzilla versus Gamera, or even have Godzilla, Gamera, King Kong in one movie fighting against, like, this would be the, I mean, let's be honest, this would be like the Avengers of monster movies, or even like Destroy All Monsters, but with Godzilla and Gamera and King Kong, would be insane. So that would be nuts. Let's see. I mean, the thing is, like, what's the company that owns Gamera? Is like Kadokawa, I think. They're not really doing anything with Gamera at this point. So I almost feel like, why not let Legendary just get the rights to do something, because you're not doing anything with the character anyway. It's not like, you know, Toho actually tried to make Godzilla movies in between when Legendary was making movies. You know, they did with Shin Godzilla. And, but like, Kadokawa's not doing anything with Gamera. So why not let Legendary get the rights? I don't know if they're talking to them at all. And the thing is, it's about money, right? Like, who knows how much Toho is charging Legendary to use Godzilla. It's the same thing with the guys who own Gamera. They're going to charge Legendary a certain amount, and Legendary has to decide whether it's worth it to pay them or just do something else. But the King of the Monsters, King of the Hollow Earth, and Guardian of the Universe together would be, yeah, that would be, I mean, if you put Godzilla, Gamera, and King Kong in one movie, that would be like the greatest giant monster. Like, those are the most, like, and then put Mothra and Rodan, and they're like the most famous giant monsters in all of cinema history. You know, in America and Japan and in all the world, they're like the most famous monsters. I mean, obviously Godzilla and Kong, but with Gamera, and all you got to do is throw in Ultraman, and it would be like the greatest giant monster movie of all time. That'd be insane. I don't know if we're ever gonna get that, but one could hope. Look, if the show does well, if the next Monsterverse film does well, if the anime does well, we're gonna get more content. And as Legendary feels like they want to invest more, they're gonna want to bring in new monsters. They're going to go get new licenses. They may reach out to see if we can get Gamera in here, because everyone knows that after Kong, we need to see Godzilla and Gamera fight. And Godzilla and Gamera have never fought before. That's the one, like, Kong and Godzilla have fought twice now. But Godzilla and Gamera have never fought before. That's the fight we need to see. That's the fight everybody wants to see. That would be insane. Or like they fight, but then they kind of team up, like a Godzilla versus Kong kind of a thing. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. And maybe they're planning that. But the good news is, look, the Monsterverse is continuing. We can all kind of celebrate after probably, you know, I wouldn't say like a year without news, but like it was kind of like Godzilla vs. Kong ended, and there wasn't really anything. Then we had rumors about Son of Kong. Then Singular Point came out, and then it just kind of ended. And it was like, now what? And we don't even know if Singular Point's going to get a sequel. I have no idea how successful Singular Point is. I haven't heard anything about a second season. Though the show, okay, spoilers for Singular Point, but I'll just say this, that the show kind of sets up something pretty important for a second season. So um, I don't really know what's going to happen with Singular Point, but Monsterverse is continuing. We're getting Godzilla versus the Power Rangers. For you Power Rangers fans out there, that comic series is coming, so that's pretty cool. We're still continuing to get Godzilla content. The one thing we need now, we're still getting more comics. We're getting a series. We need a new video game. I think this is what everybody is dying for, and I mean a new console game, not a new mobile game, a new console game. I think we've been saying this for years now. I always talk about this every time I talk about news. I'm like, when are we getting a new Godzilla game? When are we getting a new Godzilla game? And a console game, not a little mobile game. Godzilla 93, always with the news. I hope Singular Point should get a second season. I'm spoiler talk for Singular Point if you haven't seen it yet, but sorry, but I would love to see that version of Mechagodzilla. And I don't know how they're going to get Godzilla to come back. And I'd love for them to bring in other kaiju that they didn't bring in season 1. Like they bring in Baragon, Gorosaurus, Baron. They kind of hint at Mothra. You know, ones that we haven't seen in a long time, Gigan. You know, this is the 50th anniversary of Gigan. So maybe we'll see something from Toho for that as well. I'm pretty excited. Gigan is like my second favorite kaiju villain, if you want to call him a villain, or enemy of Godzilla. Probably after King Ghidorah, it'd be, well, probably after King Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla, would be Gigan. So third favorite, but he's up there. I love Gigan, and that would be amazing to see Gigan in Singular Point. I don't know, I feel like he would work really well, or in the Monsterverse. Gigan was almost going to be in King of the Monsters, so I'd love to see Gigan in the Monsterverse as well. And maybe we'll get something, a bit of a teaser this year, 50th anniversary. Or maybe we'll get another cool little like short film fight, like the one between Godzilla versus Hedra that we got last year. I'd love to see that with Godzilla versus Gigan. Probably they'll take the Final Words Godzilla and the Final Words Gigan and have them fight again. We'll have to see. But, you know, one can only hope of what will come. Yeah, I liked Singular Point. I kind of said in my review, it's not perfect, but I would like to see a second season. But we're getting so much stuff on series now. We're getting a Kong Skull Island anime. We're getting a Singular Point, another season. We're getting the Monsterverse show, which is cool, don't get me wrong. But I want to see movies as well. You know, there's nothing more classic than going to the theater and seeing Godzilla, Kong on the big screen. So hopefully movies will be coming very soon as well. Well, soon. You know, so that's the question, right? How soon will this be coming, right? Like at this point, we have no release date for this, right? I've not seen anywhere. I've not seen any confirmation. Now these shows, they take time to produce, just like movies. In my opinion, I don't think we'll see an actual. Well, I don't think the show itself will come out until at least later next year, like later 2023, in my opinion. And, you know, we may get a teaser trailer sometime this year, but I don't think the show itself comes out till next year. Sometime next year. I could be wrong. Maybe they've already started filming it in secret and it comes out this fall. That would be insane, but I don't have my hopes up. I think they usually announce this stuff like years in advance. We may get a teaser this year. That would be amazing, but I would say don't get your hopes up to see the show this year, to be honest. And same with the untitled film. You know, these movies take years to produce, probably in a year or two. Still, you know, be patient. We'll see this stuff soon enough, but it's going to take time. Maybe the Skull Island anime, because it was announced like a year ago, that'll probably come out not too late from now. Because I think they get those done pretty quickly, it seems. I wouldn't be surprised if that comes out this year. Yeah, so I think that the Skull Island anime has to probably be one of the first things that comes out, because they announced that like over a year ago, and at least the first season, right? I don't know. I think though that with that, probably this year or next year, then next year the series, then I think the year after that, the next whatever it is, Son of Kong, probably a legendary film. And then maybe a year or two after that, Godzilla 3, and then maybe later on, Destroy All Monsters, and then maybe another season. We'll see what, if the show does well, if the movie does well, we get more movies, right? It's that straightforward. So if Legendary feels like people are gonna watch some shows, they're gonna watch the movies, then they're gonna make more. That's kind of how simple it is, how straightforward it is. So I don't know how people feel about Apple TV Plus. Some people are kind of complaining about, the fact that, well, they got HBO Max to watch Godzilla vs. Kong, now they have to get Apple TV Plus. I mean, I know that some people did that with Mandalorian, that they got Disney Plus just to watch Mandalorian, and then they just cancel their subscription. So you may have to do that just to watch the show. But at least you want to go out and support it, right? Because if Legendary and Apple TV Plus see that people watch the show, they're gonna make another season. So, well, first we have to see if the season was good enough anyway to get another one. I don't know. I think at this point, there's not too much we have to go off. We can do a lot of speculating, but we can't. I can't say anything concrete. I can't say the show's gonna be about this or that. So, but it's exciting. There's so many, range of possibilities, and it's just good to have confirmed that the Monsterverse is continued. I would dare even say maybe Comic-Con, we might get some more information. We might get finally a trailer for Skull Island anime, and I would definitely think maybe later this year we might actually get a teaser for the show, and maybe next year get some more information on when it comes out. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I think very exciting all around. For those of us who had faith, believed that Godzilla would be coming back to the Monsterverse, there were rumors there for a moment that, like, the Monsterverse, first of all, we didn't know if it was going to continue. And there were rumors that the Monsterverse was going to continue without Godzilla, which I thought was silly because it's the Monsterverse. You need the king of the monsters. He's the one who started. Like, Godzilla is like the Iron Man, the Tony Stark to this whole thing. Why would they not continue with Godzilla? So no, of course they're gonna make more stuff with Godzilla. I thought that was silly that people, because there had only been rumors of Kong, and that's why people thought the Monsterverse would continue without Godzilla. But no, he's back. They're continuing forward with the Monsterverse. We're getting more stuff. Playmates Toys is gonna, apparently with Playmates Toys, the Godzilla vs. Kong toy line did pretty well, so they're gonna keep the license. They're gonna keep making Godzilla figures, even from the Monsterverse. Maybe we might get a Playmates Toys King Ghidorah 2019. That would be great, because if you don't remember, NECA opted not to do a King Ghidorah figure from that film, and that was kind of a big controversy. But maybe Playmates Toys will give us that King Ghidorah 2019 figure that we all wanted. We might get Skullcrawler. Well, we kind of already did get Skullcrawlers and Warbats, but we might get other figures. So that'd be really awesome. We might get Cosmataz or Muto Prime or Behemoth, but in larger figures as well. So, and then if this show is going to have new Titans, we're definitely going to get figures from Playmates Toys. Son of Kong, we'll probably get figures from Playmates Toys. So I think. And you know what? Their newer line of figures for Godzilla vs. Kong were much better than their original. And I know, because I made a video that I very much remember making that video where I gave Playmates Toys a very hard time for their first figures. I was pretty mean. It was funny. Like, come on. They're a toy company. They can get criticized. It's fine. I was pretty mean to Playmates Toys, but they have redeemed themselves. Look, I really like my big Sound and Light Kong figure. The big one I have. It's a nice figure. So I think with the Godzilla vs. Kong toy line, they really redeemed themselves. And, if they continue to make stuff, and they make stuff for the show, if the show has new Titans, I'm looking forward to see what figures they come up with. I think that'd be pretty cool. So, anyway, there was one last thing I wanted to just ramble on about, and that's Ultraman. Two things really with Ultraman was, because I didn't really get a chance to talk about this. So this is old news. So if you don't care, you can just quit the stream. But I just wanted to talk about this because I didn't get a chance to earlier. And this is talking about Shin Ultraman. This is from the teaser trailer from like December. I know I'm very late, but just I think this is so cool that it looks like something right out of 1967, 68. You got the, what is it called, the specium ray? They have it down like perfectly, and I think that's so cool. And I love like just the aesthetic of this teaser. And I believe Shin Ultraman is now coming out in May. This movie was announced, okay, it was announced years ago. It was supposed to come out summer of last year. Obviously, the you know what happened, and everything got pushed back. And the situation in Japan got pretty bad because of the Olympics, so everything got pushed back and delayed. But they pushed Shin Ultraman back all the way to this year. But it's finally coming out, and I don't know if it's going to get an overseas release or anything, but I'm sure that it'll be pretty easy to find, maybe on Netflix or Crunchyroll or some website like that for streaming. Maybe you'll even be able to rent it online from Amazon or just buy it when it comes out on like DVD, Blu-ray. So I'm sure it won't be too hard to find. It's going to be a pretty big, major release, so I don't think it'll be that difficult to get your hands on. But anyway, I think it looks super cool, and I'm just glad that we're finally getting this film, because it was announced, God, in what, 2019? No, was it 2019 or 2018? I want to say I first talked about Shin Ultraman. 4 years later, I want to say it was 2018. I really do. So those of you who've been watching me long enough, you might know when I did my Shin Ultraman video. So I want to say, I think it was 2018. Was it 2018 actually? I almost want to look it up. I have my entire channel like in front of me. I could probably find out in 2 seconds when I posted that video. I'm pretty sure it was 2018. I want to say it was 2018. No, it was 2019. Okay, so it wasn't that long ago. I see it right now. Shin Ultraman coming in 2021. I posted this August of 2020. Okay. So it was 2019 I talked about it. 3 years later, it's finally coming out. So, well, Godzilla 93, out of the big five in the Monsterverse, who is your favorite and least favorite? Godzilla 93, do you mean the Titans or movies? I assume you mean Titans, right? The big five? Big five, what is that? Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, King Ghidorah, and Mechagodzilla? Am I missing somebody? Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan. No, that's the big five. The Monsterverse versions, if we're talking about the Monsterverse versions, so, because you know, King Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla are like some of my favorite villains, but we're only talking the Monsterverse version, then I would say, honestly, my favorite has to be, I think it's Godzilla because I'm a Godzilla fan, and then I would say King Ghidorah. I really like the King Ghidorah version of the Monsterverse. I like the Monsterverse version of King Ghidorah a lot. Like, I really love what they did with him. So I really enjoyed, like, he's just so powerful. You like rebuild, recreate the whole world. You can like control other Titans. I really like the Monsterverse version of King Ghidorah. He's a great villain. I want to say Mechagodzilla will be next, but I do have to say I'm one of those people that felt like Mechagodzilla could have shown up more in Godzilla vs. Kong. I think that was one of my main letdowns with Godzilla vs. Kong, was that there should have been more Mechagodzilla. But Mechagodzilla itself, as a character, not within the whole film, but just as itself, yes, I really like the version they came up with. I'm not like super in love with the design, but I really like this version of Mechagodzilla. I love how powerful it was. I love how threatening it was. And I loved, like, it's basically like Kiryu or Mechagodzilla 2002, but instead of with the old bones of Godzilla, instead they used the old bones of King Ghidorah. And so this version of Mechagodzilla is actually pure evil. So, and then I'd say after, so it'd be Godzilla, then King Ghidorah, then Mechagodzilla, and then I'd say Rodan, and I'd say least favorite is Mothra. Mainly because of design, honestly. I wasn't a huge fan of Mothra's design in King of the Monsters. So I really hope that they bring her back, like kind of revamp her. Well, bring her back, bring a version of her, or him, back. There was a male Mothra back in the Rebirth of Mothra. I think it's a male. So Godzilla 93, NECA's reason for not doing Ghidorah is just, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and super criticize NECA. They had their reasons, which is fine. But I wish like Bandai Japan at least had made, they did. I have a Bandai Japan King Ghidorah 2019, but he's only like this big. I wish Bandai Japan did a bigger version. So I'm hoping Playmates does too. I want like a big King Ghidorah 2019. And yeah, Godzilla 93. I can't wait for Shin Ultraman 2. It's cool because this will be like the first Ultraman movie I've really like looked forward to go see. I really need to get more into the original series. I really want to watch it and get into it. And yeah, I mean, I've seen clips from it. At this point, I've done I've done a few videos on Ultraman, so I've researched the old shows and stuff. So I know some of the, but I've never actually like watched really the original series all the way through. So I want to really get into it. And speaking of Ultraman, the next big thing is the Ultraman Netflix. 2 weeks ago or so, a teaser came out for the new season, for season 2, after like, I want to say 3 years. I think it was 3 years. No, it was 2 years ago. It was 3 years ago, because that's when I want to say that's when season 1 came out. But yeah, was it 2019? I reviewed it. I'm looking at my old channel now. My old videos now on my channel. I reviewed it, so I think the show came out in 2019. And they said, yeah, there's going to be a season 2. And then we didn't hear anything about it. And then finally, I think it was late last year, we learned that season 2 is coming out this year. And if you haven't seen the teaser trailer, came out like 2 weeks ago. Well, no, it was the main trailer. Sorry, the teaser trailer came out a few months ago. Now the main trailer is finally out. And we finally get the actual story of what's happening. And it looks awesome. It's like this big, alien bad guy who's like, we're going to wipe out, he goes Thanos on them. He's like, we're going to wipe out half the earth if you don't, give us our demands. And the 6 of them have to stand together and fight this alien dude. And it's pretty sick. You've got like, I think it's Shin Hayata. I have to rewatch the first season, but it's Shin Hayata. So in the show, it's like a sequel to the original Ultraman. Like they're actually connected. And the original Ultraman, now an old man, and his son is the new Ultraman. But the original Ultraman is going to come back, but not like in the giant form, but in like his suit. And he's going to come back and fight alongside his son. And then we've got Ultraman Taro, who looks really cool. I haven't seen the actual show Ultraman Taro, but he looks awesome. And yeah, so the show looks really cool. And it looks like there's going to be a lot of action. It makes me feel like something, very Avengers, Marvel, like either, like an Iron Man, like Avengers and Iron Man, basically, coming together. And in fact, the bad guy is like Thanos. Like, we're going to wipe out half the world. So it looks like it's going to be cool. Tons of action, tons of fighting. 6 Ultramen. Well, the first season had 3. It had Ultraman, Ultra 7, and Ultra Ace. And I really like that story. So this is going to introduce 3 more Ultramen. And what I really like about the Netflix show is it does a good job of introducing you into Ultraman if you know very little about it. And I learned a lot about Ultraman because of the show. And it introduces like Ultra 7, Ultra Ace. And now this is going to introduce a whole bunch of Ultramen that I don't really know that much about. And I think Bemular is still in the show. He does show up somewhere in the teaser trailer. So I'll just kind of skip. I believe that's Bemular there in this shot. So Bemular is still around, if you remember, from the first season. And he's probably got something to do with it because he's an alien, right? So he may be helping the Ultramen, the Ultramen, the Ultra people. I don't know what they call themselves. But I think it's gonna be cool. Lots of action. So it's a good year for Ultraman. The Ultraman Marvel comics are still going on. I haven't read them yet, but I got to give them a read. There's a lot of comics I'm really, I've fallen behind on the comics. They used to be so good. Well, the IDW comics. I even read, there was like a Kong Skull Island comics that had nothing to do with the legendary Kong. It's like a separate, it was like a Kong comics just about Kong. not connected to the Monsterverse, different universe. Those weren't too bad. And then I was reading the IDW comics, you know, Cataclysm, Half Century War, Rulers of Earth, but I never finished it, and I wanted to. Godzilla in Hell. So I need to catch up on the comics. I want to read the Ultraman comics, and I guess I'll maybe catch up on Godzilla versus Power Rangers. We'll see. Yeah, I have been kind of slacking on the comics. There are supposed to be there were new Godzilla comics that came out, I think, but I haven't really read much about them or heard much about them. I think the Power Rangers one is the big one that everyone's talking about. So that's cool. We need a new Godzilla game. My last time I'll say it in this stream, but we really need a new Godzilla video game. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I mean, the new mobile games are cool. I think they already like closed down one of them, right? Was it not Run Godzilla Run, but Godzilla Battleline I think is still up, but there's one that they actually shut down. Which one was it? No joke, I think Godzilla Destruction will shut down. Oh, it did shut down now. So there was one that was called Godzilla Destruction. So they shut that one down, which honestly, I never even played. It looked kind of cool, but again, I don't want mobile games. I want actual console games. So I don't really know. But anyway, that was kind of my main spiel of stuff I was going to talk about. But yeah, exciting news. Huge news for the fans. Huge news, you know, for the franchise. King Red, Godzilla 2, King of the Monsters 2020 United Kingdom, May 31st, 2019. Jacob the King, Red Spy. Yeah, man. Sure, for sure. But thank you to everyone. Thank you to King Red. Thank you to Godzilla 93. Some other folks in the chat. I apologize. I didn't get a chance to say. Well, someone whose name is, I think, in Japanese, and I can't really read what you wrote, but thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Sorry, there were times I was rambling on and I wasn't paying attention to the chat, but thank you all so much for hanging out. Really appreciate you guys coming out to the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to try and do more streams like this in the future, you know. It's just fun to sit here while I ramble and drink something. Hopefully you all enjoy it. And, oh, I guess the last thing, there was one thing I wanted to rant. I guess there's time. Maybe one last. Let's see. If they got it. Let's see if I can find it. Wow. Let's see if I can find. I think I found it. So I'm not really like a react channel. I'm not even really gonna react to this. I'm just gonna show it to you all. If you haven't subscribed to Luminous, you should. Ugh. Yeah. But if you sub to Luminous if you haven't yet. But anyway, I'm just gonna skip through the video just to show you guys these really cool, and these are official. These are like Lego type toys of Godzilla that have been announced. So pretty awesome. I think they're coming out, but they look like they're coming out first. I want to say in China, it looks like. And then, yeah, they'll be coming out. There's Kong as well. So he's got his axe and everything. He looks really cool. Sorry, I think there's a dog outside, but anyway. And The last one is, of course, Mechagodzilla, who looks pretty cool, actually. I think they've done a really good job of recreating Mechagodzilla. Oh, there's another picture. Here's another picture of Mechagodzilla. I mean, you can check out the full video from Luminous, but it's pretty cool. So this is something that I thought was cool. I didn't get a chance to talk about it. This came out like a few weeks ago, but really, 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 really cool stuff. And I've always wanted like Godzilla Lego figures and Lego sets. I always thought that was awesome. So they did do some for King of the Monsters, but they weren't very good. I think these look a lot better, and they look actually like the Titans from the movie. I don't know. Looks like they're at least coming out in China. I don't know if they're coming out everywhere else, but you should see. Maybe you can find them on Amazon or something. Um, they look really cool. And I don't know if they're going to be that expensive because they're kind of like not exactly Lego brand, so they might be a little cheaper. Um, I mean, over the years, there's been some great custom Godzilla Lego figures, but I think these are kind of like the best ones that are official that I've seen. And it's Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, and Kong. Maybe in the future they'll do King Ghidorah and Rodan and Mothra. But there's also a lot of cool fan-made ones. So anyway, that was the last thing I want to show. Yeah, I think I'm going to wind down the stream here. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Really appreciate it. Amazing news. The Monsterverse lives. The Monsterverse will continue. And you just had to believe. Just had to believe. You know, I'll be here, you know, to give you, you know, at least give my reaction to the news that when it comes out. And yeah. So also, you know, there'll be more things about fan trailers coming soon. So do stay tuned. I'll keep you all updated on at least the community tab. So you guys will see more about that. Anyway, I think I said this like 10 times, but thank you all for coming to the stream. And I'll see you all in the next stream or video.